Hello students, you are welcome to today's class. In my previous lesson, I taught you the concept of unemployment. But in today's discussion, I will be teaching you elasticity of demand. And I believe that by the end of today's lesson, you should be able to define elasticity of demand, explain the measurement and types, and discuss the relevance of elasticity of demand in a society and state what type of goods belong to the various types of elasticity of demand. Today's topic is elasticity of demand. The question here is, what is elasticity of demand? There are so many definitions, but the best or easiest definition is that it is defined as the percentage change in quantity demanded of a commodity due to the percentage change in either price of the commodity, income of the consumers, or price of other related products. What we mean by this is that demand is not static, it's not constant, but changes from time to time. And when we say demand changes, it can change by increasing or decreasing. But demand does not just change without a reason. There are three principal reasons here that makes demand to change either by rising or falling, and one of them is a change in the price of the product. Like the law of demand says, the higher the price of a product, the lower its quantity demanded will be, and vice versa. Again, the income of consumers can also affect demand. A rich person with higher income will be able to purchase more of a given product than another person with a lower income. So income is another factor that can bring changes in demand. And again, the price of other related goods, otherwise called substitutes, can also affect demand. All this is what we call elasticity of demand. My question to you now is to define elasticity of demand according to the video you have just watched. Here, we want to discuss the measurements of elasticity of demand. When we say measurement, we are talking about that three main factors that always make demand to change either by rising or falling. And like I said earlier in the definition, there are three main factors here: a change in the price of the product, a change in the income of the consumers, and a change in the prices of other related products. These three factors constitute the measurement of elasticity of demand. Like we have here, when a demand change as a result of a change in the price of the product, such is called price elasticity of demand. That is, it is simply defined as the percentage change in demand because of a percentage change in price. So price bringing a change in the demand of the product. Next measurement is ECOM, elasticity of demand, meaning if the demand for a given product changes because of a change in the income of the consumers in the community, such change in demand is called ECOM, elasticity of demand, meaning it is defined as the percentage change in demand for a product because of a percentage change in the income of the consumers. And the last measurement here is cross elasticity of demand. That is, this change is as a result of a change in the prices of other related goods or substitutes. For example, we have Bonvita and Milo are related products or substitutes. The demand for Bonvita will drop if the change in price of Milo falls, meaning the price of Milo will affect the demand for Bonvita. So a decrease in the price of Milo may result to a decrease in price of Bonvita, as people will buy more of Milo because to them Milo is now cheaper than Bonvita. Such is called cross elasticity of demand. Like I put here, it is defined as the degree of responsiveness of quantity demanded of a product to a change in the price of its substitute. My question here again, you must answer in your note, is what are the measurements of elasticity of demand according to the video you just watched? Here we want to discuss the types of elasticity of demand. Types of elasticity of demand. Second type of elasticity of demand is inelastic demand. This is the direct opposite of elastic demand. Inelastic demand is also called fairly inelastic demand, and it occurs when the percentage change in quantity demanded of a commodity is less than the percentage change in its price. That is, change in demand is lower than change in price. For example, 5% change in price of a product results to a less than 5% change in demand for the product. Like we said earlier, in elastic demand, the coefficient is always greater than 1. But in inelastic demand, being the opposite, the coefficient is always less than 1. The graph here says change in price leads to a smaller percentage change in demand. Number 3 types of elasticity of demand is unitary demand. In unitary, it means that the change in price is not greater or less than changing in demand. In this case, both changes are equal. That is, it occurs when the percentage change in the quantity demanded of a commodity is equal to the percentage change in its price. For example, 5% change in price of a product resulted to a 5% change in demand. In such a case, both changes are equal. And the coefficient elasticity here is that it must be equal to 1. It is not less than, it is not greater than, but it must be equal to 1. These are the graphs explaining the definition of a unitary elasticity of demand, where the change in price is proportional to the change in quantity demanded. Next one we have here is perfectly elastic. This goes with a condition. Perfectly elastic demand is also called completely elastic demand, where consumers are prepared to purchase all the quantity supplied of a product, provided that the condition, provided the price of the product remain constant. Whatever that is supplied in the market, consumers are prepared to buy them on the condition that the price of that product remain unchanged. And they will also not buy any if the sellers increase the price of the product even with a little percentage. And the graph of this type of elasticity of demand is usually horizontal. It is also called infinity or infinitely elastic demand. Of course, the last we have here is perfectly inelastic demand or completely inelastic demand, where a rise or a fall in the price of a product does not affect the quantity demanded. Like I put here, quantity demanded of the commodity remains the same whether the price of the product rises or falls. Whether the price of the product is 10 naira, people buy the quantity needed. If by tomorrow the price falls, people buy the same quantity they need. So a change in the price of the product does not affect at all the quantity demanded of such product. This is also called zero elasticity of demand. And the graph or the curve is usually vertical in nature. And most times the coefficient is always zero, meaning zero change. There is no change in demand whether price rises or falls. My question here is, measure the types of elasticity of demand according to the video. Thank you for watching the video. But before I say my goodbye, I want to quickly give a short summary of what you just watched. Elasticity of demand simply means the percentage change in quantity demanded of a commodity due to a percentage change in either price of the product, income of the consumer, and of course, the price of substitutes. And there are three major measurements of elasticity of demand. We have the income measurement known as income elasticity of demand. We have the price measurement known as price elasticity of demand, and price of substitute known as cross elasticity of demand. But there are 5 types of elasticity of demand. We have elastic demand, which occurs when the percentage change in quantity demanded of a product is more than proportionate change in the price of the product. We have inelastic demand, which is the direct opposite of elastic. It occurs when the change in demand is less than the change in price. We have unitary, which occurs when the percentage change in quantity demanded of a product equals the percentage change in the price of that product. And we have two others. We call them the extreme of elasticity of demand. Perfectly elastic, otherwise known as completely elastic. And we have perfectly inelastic, also known as completely inelastic. Further studies or reading, kindly consult the recommended textbook, Economics for Colleges by Abedi. Till then, kindly do the quiz and the game in this module to enable you to have access to the next module. Thank you and God bless you. See you in my next class. Bye bye.